Hello, my name is Heather Tesco, and I want to invite you on a once-in-a-lifetime tour of some of England's most historic cities. Bigworld is a tour company specializing in niche history tours on a specific subject. And our first tour, launching this spring, May 2016, is the English choral tradition. So it's highlights of the history of the English choral tradition. And in case you don't know, I suspect you do know this if you're watching this, but in case you don't know, English choral music is really special and really unique for a number of reasons. In part, it comes from the changes in the 16th century, the Protestant Reformation, the uniqueness of the Protestant Reformation in England, where much of the liturgy stayed similar to Catholicism, but was written in English, and many of the changes back and forth from a Protestant monarch to a Catholic monarch to a Protestant monarch, I won't go into it all here. But by the time Queen Elizabeth I took the throne, there'd been a lot of changes. And the English composers were primed for this flowering, this creative flowering that was just the most explosive, creative experience in music that England had really probably seen up until that point. And composers like William Byrd, people that we know, wrote just this amazing music for these Anglican services that came in part from Cranmer's Book of Common Prayer. So the English choral experience is really, really special. And so we're putting together this tour that highlights the English choral experience with services at some of the most historic abbeys and cathedrals and chapels that we can go to. So if you don't know, Evensong is a service that's directly from Cranmer's Book of Common Prayer. It was a popular service with prayers that were sent to music. And it provided the composers of the late 16th century with an entirely new service to write music for. And even today, the Choral Evensong program on BBC Radio 3 is actually the longest running radio program on BBC, and it's extremely popular. So people just love Evensong, and it has a very rich history that goes back to the Reformation. So why should you come with us on this tour? Let me tell you about myself. So I moved to London when I was 24. This was in 2000, so I just dated myself. I moved to London because I was completely besotted with English choral music, and I wanted to spend every moment that I could soaking it up. And so I got a young person's rail card, and I spent pretty much all of my free time going on trains to lots of different cities and going to Evensong services. It was like every weekend it was the thing I did, was go to Evensong service here or there. It just became a huge part of my life. And so that was something that I experienced. And I also started an amateur choir when I was in London, and we performed in some really beautiful parish churches, some really old places, really special. And it was something that I started with a friend, and we got about 20 singers together and sang throughout London, and it was brilliant. And now one of the things I do is run a popular podcast on Renaissance English history. And it's a very highly ranked podcast on iTunes. It's always in the top listings on iTunes, and it gets over 120,000 downloads each month. So I do this research and I write my podcast, and some of you might already be listening to it. And so thank you for that. And that's something that I do too. So yeah, I'm really experienced with researching these kinds of things, and English choral music is like my thing. And while I'm not a professional historian, while I'm not a professional choral director, this is kind of the life that I've lived for the past 15 years. So I have a unique ability to be able to take you on a fantastic tour of these services. And I'm so excited to be able to share my passion of English choral music with other people who are passionate about it. And that's what's really cool about this. We're going to cap the tour at about 12 people. And so we're going to have this experience of all of us who are completely nuts about English choral music being able to share this with other people who also share our passions. So that's a really exciting opportunity as well. My business partner, Jim Fortney, started Big World as a travel magazine in the 90s. And then he took some time off to raise his son, and now he's back trying to get back into the travel world and starting this tour company. And so he's really into history as well. He's more into modern history, but he's married to a historian, and he's an amateur historian as well. And so we both share this love of history, and we're going to expand over time to some other niche subjects, like we're looking at railroads and the growth of railroads and beach towns in England. And so there's a lot of stuff we want to do, also Viking invasions in northern England. So there's a lot of other subjects we want to look at, but we're starting with this one just because it's where my unique passion is, and so what I felt qualified to be able to put a tour together about. So this tour isn't going to be just about music though. So it's a huge part of it. But if music isn't so much your thing, maybe you're looking at this with your partner and your partner isn't so much of a music person, that's totally fine. If they're into the history of it all, it'll be perfect for them no matter what, because you don't have to come to the evensong services. So that's just part of it. Every day we'll have another structured activity, and we'll have lots of free time, lots of opportunities to do things on your own. We'll provide guides for each city, little pamphlets, guidebooks, flyers telling you what all there is to see in each city. So you can really take your time and explore on your own, see the things that you want to see in addition to the music. And if you're coming with your partner and they're not so much into the music, they can skip the evensong services if they don't want to come. It's just part of every day. And also, so most days we'll have two structured activities. One is the service, and then the other one will be like a guided tour. And you can check out the itinerary for more information on that. And so if you're not so much into the music, it's really focusing on the history, and the music's a big part of it, but it's not all of it. So there's that. There'll be plenty of time to do things on your own and see the things that you want to see. And one other note, we specifically left London off of the formal tour because we wanted to keep it more affordable. And we also suspect that many of you have probably already been to London and experienced that. But if you haven't, or if you didn't look at the choral side of things when you were there last, if you want help planning time either before or after the formal tour, if you'd like to have us help you plan finding affordable places to stay, things to do, things like that, we're so happy to help you do that. That's totally fine. And I expect some of you will probably want to do that. So the tour actually ends on a Saturday. So if you want to stick around until the next day and have Sunday be Evensong Day in London, that's certainly something that you could do as well. So that's an idea. But that's not part of this formal tour. So please take some time and look around the site. We've put a very detailed itinerary with deep dive information on each place that we're going, so you can really start to get a sense of where each place is, why we chose it, and why it's special, and the special role that it has. And so take some time, look at the itinerary, and look at all the places we're stopping. It's going to be such an amazing tour. And if you have any questions, if there's anything more you want to know, please get in touch with us. There's contact information on the site, and please get in touch with us. And we really look forward to traveling with you. So if you're not watching this on the site, if you're watching it on YouTube, go to bigworld.com, www.bigworld.com, to check it out. And we're so excited to see you. Thanks.